Hello everyone, glad to be back. Today is 2nd of December. Now it's 12 o'clock, middle of the day by Moscow time. I'm Levan Gudadze and this is my first update for a day in which I will share all the main news that are making headlines in Russian media and Russian language pages on different internet platforms. Second update will be a little bit late on my Patreon page, in which I will try to highlight some afternoon Moscow, some streets from from the afternoon with some New Year's lightnings. So hopefully Patreon community will find that video interesting. Today formally is supposed to be my day off, but I'm in Moscow with my family, and I decided to use this opportunity to make one more walking talk type of video from different areas of the capital. And right now I will share with you information about situation on the front line on Ukrainian battlefield. And well, when it comes to short summary, according to reports that I see from Russian media and Russian military channels, there was no significant changes on any of the sectors of the front line. It's local scale skirmishes, mainly between the sides. Russian militaries are holding initiative and are conducting mainly local scale offensive operations, although in some areas, in Rabotino area, for example, in Kherson direction, Ukrainian forces still are trying to conduct some local scale offensives, but they are failing time after time. And yesterday, for example, I did share a video about yet another failed this local scale counteroffensive of Ukrainian forces. Several armored vehicles were destroyed, and those platoons that were participating in that counteroffensive also. And this morning I did share on my Telegram also video about Russian strikes on Ukrainian militaries on the right bank of the Kherson, right bank of the Dnieper River in Kherson region. I did see first time this type of video when Russian forces used for simultaneous attack several Lancet drones at once. And according to that video, what I see, and you can check that on my Telegram page, dear friends, on my Telegram channel, I guess at least platoon of Ukrainian forces were neutralized, and some boats, I guess possibly even more. But that's a daily routine at this point in Kherson direction. I said many times before that left bank is a trap for Ukrainian forces, and more Ukrainian brigades will be concentrated on the right bank to participate in these crossings of the Dnieper River. Easier it will be for Russian side to strike on the concentration points of Ukrainian units, and that video that I did share this morning exactly confirms that. When it comes to other sectors of the front line, of course, Russian forces are improving positions on daily basis in Avdiivka direction. And yesterday, Riber did report that Russian forces improved their positions on the southern flank of Avdiivka, although at this point we are, of course, not talking about some final assault on Avdiivka. That will happen about 2 or 3 weeks' time, in my understanding. If not little later than that, but not now. At this point, Russian forces will just increase pressure little by little on regular basis, and when lack of munition, lack of manpower, reinforcement, any supplies whatsoever, and also weather conditions will play a significant role on battle readiness of Ukrainian units, then I guess Russian side will begin its final assault on Avdiivka garrison. When it comes to northern sectors of the front line, last several days, including previous 12 to 24 hours, Sinkovka, not far away from Kupiansk, is and was a main hotspot. Although sites are conducting these local scale skirmishes at this point, and nothing is happening that can influence overall situation on Kupiansk direction. Also, initiative is totally in Russian hands, and if Russian forces, by the way, if Russian forces had a task to establish control over the Sinkovka, I'm quite sure they will already be in Sinkovka. like yesterday, for example, Russian forces established full control over the Marinka. I did report so many times about Marinka and situation in Marinka, and yesterday, surprisingly for I guess majority of commentators and just about everybody who is interested in news, Russian forces established full control over the Marinka, and last parts of this small town that was controlled by Ukrainian forces were cleared from Ukrainian units. That was quite surprised, and I guess since the Marinka is under full Russian control, I guess next direction of Russian activity in Donetsk sector will be also Krasnogorovka. Also Krasnogorovka, because Russian side is quite close, I will say, to develop bridgehead that will allow Russian military units to conduct offensive operations on the South Donetsk direction, and basically encircle entire grouping of forces of Ukrainian army in the southern sectors. Excuse me, in area of Ugledar and Vremyevsky salient. But this will of course take time. It will not happen in a day or two. Well, that's been said. I will continue from some other area. So we are now on Tverskoy Street, one of the busiest and I guess one of the noisiest streets in the Moscow. So hopefully microphone is working okay and you can hear me. But anyway, I mean, quite nice area. Really, it's just too noisy, but otherwise nice area, some nice buildings. And many of those buildings are historic ones with interesting story. But anyway, let's continue with the news update. And when it comes to special military operation, yesterday Defense Minister of Russian Federation Sergei Shoigu made several quite interesting statements, and he said that since the beginning of so-called Ukrainian counteroffensive, Ukrainian forces lost about 125,000 military personnel and 16,000 different types or pieces of military equipment. Immense number, of course, huge number, but yet again, if we take in account intensity of battles, on the line of contact, especially when Ukrainian side began its counteroffensive. Then, well, I guess data of Russian Defense Ministry is most accurate, because we're not gonna hear any information about casualties on Ukrainian side from Kiev regime for sure. Although former members of Kiev regime are beginning to talk about this subject. For example, Arestovich, former aide of Zelensky, during one of his last interviews did touch up on the subject of Ukrainian casualties, and he said that because Zelensky did not agree on peaceful negotiations with Russia after Istanbul talks between the two sides, because Zelensky basically derailed these peace talks. Ukrainian side lost 300,000 military personnel. So according to Arestovich, casualties on Ukrainian side is about 300,000. So they are beginning to talk about this topic little by little. One day probably we will have more accurate information or understanding of scale of battles and the casualties. But at this point, that's reports that we are getting. According to Russian Defense Ministry, Ukrainian side, just in last 6 months, since the beginning of Ukrainian counteroffensive, lost 120,000 military personnel. And according to former aide of Zelensky, Arestovich, Ukrainian armed forces lost, since the beginning of special military operation, 300,000 military personnel. Anyway, let's continue. And Zelensky, dear friends, first time basically did admit that counteroffensive failed. He didn't say it this way directly, but he said that during his interview with the Associated Press, if I'm not mistaken, that things are not going well, or as well as they would like, Zelensky and his associates, which is definitely cannot be called success. So they are beginning to openly acknowledge their failures, at least partially. But what is interesting, they are blaming internally when it comes to internal situation in Ukraine. They are blaming each other. But when it comes to foreign policy, they are blaming West and NATO, because they think NATO did not send enough weapons, did not send enough money, and so on. We all know this, how this song goes. Question is why Zelensky or anybody in his inner circle ever think that for Western ruling elites, Kiev regime was anything other than tool, anything other than a disposable tool, basically. So they have been used now, and I'm quite sure it's only a matter of time when Western ruling class will get rid of all those faces in current regime in Kiev, and they will try to replace them with some formally new individuals in political terms, in political sense, because of course one of the major candidates are Zaluzhny and also Budanov. One is head of general staff, and the second is head of military intelligence. But they have been known as a militaries, not as a politicians, but you know, they may become politicians one day, because according to reports that I see and according to analyze of information from open sources that I do, it seems like that these two individuals are most likely that will take to replace Zelensky in 3 to 5 months time, no longer than that, I guess. And dear friends, when it comes to a topic of negotiations between Kiev and Moscow, and I did mention that Arestovich did blame Zelensky for all the deaths on the Ukrainian side because he did not agree to continue peace talks. Well, Seymour Hersh, award-winning US journalist, according to reports that I see, did write yet another article in which he shared information that high-ranking militaries of Ukraine and Russia are conducting some sorts of negotiations, or you know, behind the closed door. Of course, it's not open. And topic of negotiation is that if they will achieve agreement, conflict basically will be frozen, as I understand this report from Hersh. Conflict will be frozen mainly on the current line of contact. Russian side will keep Crimea, of course, Zaporozhye, Kherson regions, Donetsk and Lugansk People's Republic, and rest of the Ukraine will stay under control of Kiev regime, and eventually will integrate into EU. But according to reports that I see about this article of Hersh, Russian side is demanding that NATO will not put in the EU controlled territory offensive weaponry, offensive weapons, and its military bases, which is well, I don't know. Moscow may demand anything, of course, but how can Moscow trust NATO that they will not put bases in Ukraine? It's not possible, isn't it? You cannot trust them. And well, this is probably first time when I find difficult to believe or understand the reports from Seymour Hersh, because none of this that I said now makes any sense to me. I mean, I can understand if some negotiations are taking place, some contacts are established between high-ranking military leaders of Russia and Ukraine. I can understand that they may have some talks, how to de-escalate, let's say. But in my understanding, main subject of these talks gonna be, or supposed to be, capitulation of Kiev regime. No any other agreement probably will be perceived in Russia as a victory. But I may be mistaken, I don't know. I don't know. Of course, if conflict will end right now, I will applaud it, because people not gonna die, and there gonna be no destruction. But yet again, we have to be realistic, and I find difficult to understand this article of Seymour Hersh, because it really does not make any sense for Russia now to agree on to agree on a ceasefire and to basically force conflict as it is right now at this moment, because initiative is in Russian hands, and why should Moscow do anything like that? Really, I don't know. But let's see. Maybe reports that I see about this article, I didn't read the article myself, and maybe reports that I read about this article were not as correct as I perceive them. That's also a possibility, isn't it? But anyway, let me continue from some other areas. We are now in a Pushkin Square. That's a Pushkin, world famous Russian thinker, poet, writer. I will say he's author of modern Russian литературный язык. How should I say in English? Literature language. He was a genius of his time for sure, and well, where to go from this area? Okay, anyway, I will continue from some other place. I have to show you this, dear friends. Right there, behind me, now it's Vkusnaya Tochka, Russian fast food giant, I will say. But previously, it was McDonald's, before Western sanctions, let's say. And this McDonald's was the first in Soviet Union, exactly in this place there. That was the first McDonald's in entire Soviet Union, and it stayed there until Western ruling elites made the decision to force as many Western companies as they possibly can out of Russia. So I just wanted to share this information with you. Let's continue now with additional news. I will go through this nice boulevard here and will share several. Oh, that's a quite nice building, man. I just noticed it. Let me show you. I don't know if you can see, but the entire building is in New Year's lightings. At afternoon, it's gonna look very nice. And well, where I was, yes, special military operation and subject of Ukraine. To continue this topic, I will share with you information about Russian armed forces. Yesterday, Russian media did report that Putin signed a decree about Russian military, about increase of Russian military, and according to latest numbers, in Russian army there will be about 1.2 million military personnel, and also hundreds of thousands of civilians also will be employed, and number of militaries will increase by 170,000, which is a quite increase, really. And also, dear friends, yesterday Russian Telegram channels did report that Medvedev, former president of Russian Federation and deputy chairman of Security Council, did also made statement about Russian military, and he said that since the 1st January of this year and until December, more than 400,000 people did sign a contract with the Russian army to participate in special military operation. So just imagine, in Ukraine, people have been kidnapped on the streets and forcefully mobilized and sent to the front line. And in Russia, this year alone, and I guess number will increase in December also, this month. But from January to December, more than 400,000 people voluntarily sign a contract with the Russian armed forces and are participating and are ready at least to participate in special military operation. Of course, not all of them will be sent to the front line, but fact itself that there are huge number of people that are signing contracts voluntarily with the Russian army definitely speaks volumes. And dear friends, let me notice that today's update may be a little chaotic. Maybe sound is not as good as when I'm recording from home, but hopefully you will like this video. After all, it's extra. Today I supposed to have day off, as I usually do on Saturdays, and well, if video is little chaotic or sound is not the best, or video itself, I mean visual, sorry about that. But let's continue with additional news now. And same time, as I said, I will try to highlight some surrounding buildings. While during the montage, I will add additional, of course, additional videos and photos to the update. So it will be like mix informal talk and a news summary, as I usually do on the Patreon. But anyway, let's continue. And well, I did spoke about this operation of Russian airborne troops in Kherson region, when they simultaneously use quite a few Lancer drones to strike Ukrainian forces that were preparing to cross the Dnieper River. You can check that video on my Telegram. But this video footage and this operation definitely confirms what I was saying for so many weeks now, that entire this Kherson offensive of so-called offensive of Ukrainian forces is a trap for Ukrainian armed units. And I guess my understanding of situation was correct. I have some notice here and while preparing program, I put this information twice, not to forget to mention it, but anyway, we have reports in Russian media that, and possibly in the Western media also, that U.S. lawmakers will begin working on Biden's aid package, military aid package for Ukraine, Israel, Taiwan, and for border security of U.S. In no earlier than 11th of December. Let me also show you this area here. no earlier than 11th of December. And yet again, let's see this how this vote will go, because as I understand, not all Republicans are convinced, at least for now, that this aid package should be approved, especially part of aid package that is supposed to be allocated for Ukraine. And we are talking about 106 billion package, from which 63 billion, if I'm not mistaken, supposed to go to funding of this proxy war in Ukraine, proxy war for US. And well, let's talk about some other topics now, and of course Middle East, and unfortunately, as I reported yesterday, and everyone sides did begun hostilities again, and already yesterday afternoon, Russian Telegram channels did report that according to data from Palestine, up to 200 civilians were killed as a result of Israeli strikes on the Gaza Strip. So this horror in the Palestine continues. Quite unfortunate, but at least for now, it seems like world community is unable to do much really to stop these hostilities between the sides. And Israeli officials did made yesterday statement and said that Hamas still holds 137 hostages, and negotiations will continue. These hostages to be freed. I guess sometime in the future there will be some additional humanitarian pause or temporary truce in the Palestine, but at this point, I don't really see any indicators that Netanyahu's government is willing to cease hostilities entirely and began some work on political and diplomatic solutions, which is quite unfortunate, really. And several news about some economical developments, and first of all, about United Kingdom. Yesterday, RT did reported that according to latest studies of public opinion in UK, society is quite upset with the results of Brexit. According to social studies, more than 70% of citizens in UK think that British economy is much worse now than while United Kingdom was a part of EU, which may not be a surprise for some, but for many citizens of UK, this is quite disappointing. I can understand this, and also, if you remember, dear friends, one of the main topics during this whole discussion before referendums took place and UK left EU, one of the major topics for Brexiteers was that they will deal with immigration, and they did not really. And according to latest numbers, latest data, UK now receiving more migrants than when UK was in EU. So maybe this study was. I mean, we can criticize study itself. We can criticize numbers, but well, seems like Brexit did not went as well as UK citizens and UK authorities were hoping for. You can criticize numbers as much as you like, but it will change nothing, isn't it? It will just change or influence nothing. And well, maybe I don't think UK will seriously begin now talks about rejoining EU, but I guess with some time, Downing Street 10 will find ways to deal with all the issues that are making people unhappy in the UK. Being a topic of migration, migrants or migration, or being topic of economical development. And I just reported like a few days ago that in 2022 and in this year, in 2023, more companies will close in UK than will be created. So this is also an indicator that UK's economy is not in the best shape. And dear friends, let me continue from some other areas also. I do have several more news to share. So I will end this video now. And I will continue from this area, and I will share last two news that I have for this update. First news is about reports in the Western media that Wall Street CEOs are not happy with Biden and Trump, and they want some other candidates to be perceived as a major ones, and they are willing to finance these other candidates. I guess this is important news because Wall Street is a financial center of US, and these presidential elections are very costly, especially for Democrats and Republicans. They spend somewhat about $1 billion each during presidential campaigns, and quite nice installation, isn't it? And well, in case of Trump, I guess this attitude of Wall Street CEOs not that big of a deal, because he has strong following. He has a strong following, and I guess he can receive some financial support from his supporters through small donations, and I guess he will manage to accumulate at least several hundred of $million this way. But for Biden, this attitude of Wall Street definitely gonna be an issue, because I don't think he has such a strong following. He definitely don't. So I would not be surprised. If we will see some shift inside the Democrats in upcoming weeks, and some other individual will take place of a major candidate from Democrats. Let's see how will things go. And also, dear friends, additional news and last news for today's update is about grain deliveries from Russia to countries in need. As I reported many times before, since grain deal was suspended, Moscow high-ranking Russian officials did made statements that they will support countries in need, and they will deliver some some aid to them. And yesterday Russian media outlets did report that Somali did receive first delivery of grain, 25,000 tons, by the way, which is a great gesture in my understanding, great humanitarian gesture from Russian side. And also several other countries will receive about 200,000 tons of grain from Russia, also free of charge, which is yet again, once again, demonstrates attitude of Russia towards other countries. I rarely see when Western states do anything for free. Rarely. Whenever they do something, usually it's some interests. Always some interests there. But Russia is a different story, and Russia can and did act this way before and will act this way in the future. And whenever there is some need to provide some support to countries in need, Moscow always will be there. And this is the right approach in my understanding. That's why Russia perceived worldwide much better. Russia has been seen worldwide much better and in much friendlier, with much friendlier attitude than Western states that basically are seen worldwide as a predator states because of the history of this colonization and so on. But anyway, I will end this video on this optimistic or positive news that Russia not just promised to deliver free grain to countries in need, but began making these deliveries. And well, once again, let me show you this very nice boulevard, by the way, very nice. And as I said, I will add some additional video footage to this update, and hopefully you will find it interesting. Hopefully you will find it interesting. This is it for now. This update gonna be late one, obviously, because now it will take some time to do some montage, then it will take some time to upload this video. But anyway, it's extra content, so hopefully our community will find it interesting. That's it. So yes, what else can I say? If you can, please click that like button and leave some commentary. I would not be able to be active in the comment sections while I'm in Moscow, but once I will go back to Dmitrov, of course, I will be active. I will try to react on all the comments that I see. If you can, please share links to my videos or my channel with your friends on any of the platforms that you are active on. And if you think this project with several channels on YouTube, Rumble and Telegram are interesting, informative, useful and has some potential, please consider to support my work with small donations through PayPal, buy me a coffee, or by subscribing to my Patreon page, in which I do on regular basis upload some extra content. And today not gonna be exception. This afternoon I will make some videos on the streets of Moscow about this with New Year's lightings. Installations are not everywhere yet, but work is ongoing, as you can see. And at afternoon, this street's gonna look significantly nicer, I will say, although it's already looks beautiful. And I will upload that video for Patreon. You can see, dear friends, links to my PayPal, Buy Me a Coffee, or Patreon under this video in the description box or in the pinned comment. This is it for now. Have a great day, have a great weekend, and take care. See you soon.